You're watching Mental Health with Marcie, and I'm Marcie. In today's video, we are going to read one of my old blogs, What It's Like Being a Woman in Tech. And so I am very curious to see if my opinions have changed over the years. It has been a while since I wrote this article, probably 5 years or so, and I'm still in the tech industry, so I would be very curious to see what my opinions are. I think I remember a little bit, just a little bit of what it was, and I don't think it's a very flattering view. So I guess I'll just put this out on the internet. I guess this blog is already out on the internet, so could have been canceled already. But anyway. Let's begin, and I will kind of react as we go through and see if we still feel the same about women in tech. Okay. We all know women are still largely underrepresented in the technology industry. According to the National Center for Women in Technology, only 26% of computing jobs were held by U.S. women in 2017, while 57% of bachelor degrees recipients in 2016 were women. Women only held 19% of 2016 computer and information sciences bachelor's degrees. Oh my God. So many numbers. I'm not a numbers gal. I'm too many percentages. I'm already lost. Why are so few women in the tech industry and pursuing tech degrees? What does that mean for those women already in the tech industry? And what's it like being female in a male-dominated field? While I don't have all the answers to the why and what it means for the future of women in tech, I can share with you my personal experiences as a female in the tech industry. Being a woman in tech. Now I realize I'm not the most representative woman in tech. I don't have a computer science degree and I don't write code. I have a degree in journalism and I do client communications for an IT company. I may not be your typical woman techie, but I have learned a lot as a woman in technology the past 3 years working in IT. Well, maybe I wrote this later, because if I was there for 3 years, I would have been 25. Because I started when I was 22 out of college, so we'll see. I never pictured myself working in a STEM field and purposely chose not to pursue a STEM education. Okay, Marcie. So it was a happy accident that I ended up in tech after all. Oh my God. This is a little too much. The next header is, aren't you part of the problem for not pursuing STEM? 5 years ago, Marcie. Cringing. Okay, I will continue. Anyway, no one ever told me I couldn't be a scientist, technologist, engineer, or mathematician. In fact, my family is mostly in STEM, so if anything, it was encouraged. I took all the honors STEM classes I could and did just fine, but when it came time to choose a field of study for college, I chose a non-STEM field, journalism. Communication/journalism is actually a highly female-dominated field in my experience, with the majority of my Missouri School of Journalism students being female during my tenure there. You might then say that I am part of the problem for not pursuing a STEM male-dominated field for my education. We need to be encouraging more girls to pursue STEM, right? Yes, but as long as that's what they actually want to do. Writing has always been my passion, so it's ridiculous to think that I should have ignored my interests and forced myself to get a degree in a STEM subject just for the sake of STEM. I'm sure I would have been plenty successful with a STEM degree, but my passion was, and still is, the written word. Girls and women should feel free to pursue STEM if that's what they are interested in, but it's okay to pursue other fields if your interests lie elsewhere. That doesn't mean you are part of the problem or failing women by not pursuing STEM. Your education, career, and future are your choices and yours alone. So, this is a little problematic. I don't believe that I'm part of the problem per se. That's not really how I would describe it. But I also don't feel so strongly that, career choices and education, everything is just yours, your decision alone, because there's a lot of other factors that influence that, including, your economic abilities, social status, etc. your opportunities that you're afforded. So yeah, it's a little problematic, but let's keep reading and see what other juicy stuff I get into. My journey to the tech industry. How did I end up in the tech industry with my journalism degree? It was mostly an accident, as most things in life that actually turn out okay. Is that true? Is it just like most things are accidents? I don't feel like that's like a statement that I can make. Apparently I did, but that doesn't seem right. My last semester of my senior year of college, I applied to tons of copy editing and journalism jobs with no luck. My graduation date was looming closer and I was panicking just a bit. Okay, a whole lot. Luck would have it that I heard about some openings at an IT company that my uncle worked at. I applied and got the job just a few short weeks before graduation. I was going to be a proposal analyst in the financial services sector. Heck, if I knew what proposals were, much less anything about the financial services industry, but I figured I would give it a go. 'Cause why not? Who was I to be choosy when I got offered a solid job before graduation? I know not all of my peers were so lucky, so I showed up to work 2 weeks after graduating college, not knowing what to expect, entering an unfamiliar and male-dominated IT industry. So dramatic. So dramatic. But yeah, we'll see. My first impression of the male-dominated IT industry. Thinking back to when I first started at CGI, I do remember noticing a visible gender disparity. In particular, the orientation training group I was part of was overwhelmingly male. The group was about 25% female, which is comparable to the statistic at the beginning of this article where only 26% of computing jobs are held by women. Apparently I love my statistics. That doesn't seem like me, but apparently I do. I was acutely aware that I was one of only a few girls in the group. While this may have been a striking and notable observation at the time, that was the first and only time I ever thought about gender disparity working at CGI, which is interesting. Sorry, I'm just like pre-reading this next paragraph and it's a little cringy. Okay. Well, we'll keep reading and then I'll react. Do you get treated differently because you're a woman? Other than that first day of training, I've never noticed a gender gap at CGI. I'm sure there are statistically more men than women working at CGI, but I don't notice it because it doesn't make a difference or affect my work in any way. We're all just people working together toward the same goals, so divisions and categorizations of male versus female are completely unnecessary and irrelevant. Plus, I've never been treated any differently because I'm a woman. I've never received anything less than respect from all my CGI colleagues, both male and female. I understand that some women have had different and less fortunate experiences than I have working in the tech industry or other STEM fields. I have been extremely lucky to have had such a positive experience with all my male colleagues. And I think there's just like this big caveat that just because my experience has been positive doesn't mean that that's representative of society. I feel like there's not a big enough caveat in this blog that, yes, maybe I've had a positive experience, but that doesn't mean that everyone has or that that is the norm per se. So yeah, it's a little, again, I'll just keep saying it's problematic, but it's fine. I'm sure this next section won't be any more problematic. Is it hard to rise to a leadership as a female in a male-dominated industry? I've found that there are actually more opportunities for women to rise to leadership positions in male-dominated industries. Oh, really now, Marcie? Oh, really? Of course, let's get to this next caveat. Of course, I'm only speaking from my own experiences, but all of my managers at CGI have been female. And so what's interesting is that I'm coming from a communications like support admin kind of world, and that is, you know, primarily dominated by females. And so my experiences kind of in the comms space is really different than the rest of the organization. And so I don't really make that distinction. But just feeling like I'm, you know, surrounded with a lot of female energy, like that's true. All of my managers were female. But that's not representative across the entire organization or in levels of leadership. So again, I don't know that that's true. I mean, yeah, I don't know about that. I've had the opportunity to watch, listen, and learn from the best and soak in all their female leadership advice over the years. There's one particular female leader at CGI who has inspired me, Pam Smith. When I first started at CGI, she was the credit program lead, and she would join my proposal calls on occasion when things were going south and whip everyone into shape. That's funny. Making sure to guide the proposal to success with the right price, win themes, and strategy. That does sound like Pam. It's been a while, clearly a long time, but back in the day. When a position opened up for VP of our entire group, she was the clear choice. In order to get to know the other programs, Pam started weekly here-to-there messages where she would give free of charge leadership advice. I took her words to heart and tried to learn as much as I could from her vast experience and expertise. I have a long way to go in order to get to Pam level, but her advice really has made a difference in my thinking about where I spend my time and how to delegate in order to advance my career. I admire all the accomplishments she's made over her career, and I hope to one day be a strong female leader like her. While Pam is enjoying her much-deserved retirement now, I think I will always owe a little piece of my strength and inspiration to her, which I do believe in having female mentors and role models, and just looking up to those females who are in leadership positions and kind of getting their 2 cents and advice for moving up and kind of what you can do to progress your career. So I do still agree with that. Interesting. See, I just read the next sentence and I was like, aha, I see. Is there anything bad about being a woman in tech? What I just talked about earlier. The only complaint I would have, if you could even call it that, let me just dismiss what I just said apparently, is that there are a lot of women in support administrative roles at CGI, which is not a unique problem to the tech field. For example, my group falls into the support administrative category and my team is entirely female. If women or anyone wants to stay in these types of roles, that is absolutely fine. But if you do want to move up or do something else, all you have to do is speak up. It's just funny. I say the most brazen things, and then I have just of course, this is easier said than done. And then I just do this of course caveat. But yeah, it's all you have to do is speak up. Nothing else, there's no, nothing stopping you from getting that promotion, apparently. Apparently, it's just that easy. So, and all the stars have to align just perfectly for you to be able to find another role and backfill, but you will never be given the opportunity to move up if you don't speak up. And I do believe that speaking up is an important part of it, but it's not the whole story, and it's a lot of times dependent on the organization, the politics, hierarchy, things like that are out of your control. So again, speaking up is good. It's important, in my opinion, but it is not the only thing that will get you that promotion. That's what I'm in the process of doing right now. I want my team to add more value, so I'm trying to redefine what we do and move away from the administrative type of work. It's still a work in progress, but I'm able to put my plans into action because I spoke up. You'll never know what you're capable of and what you can accomplish if you don't put yourself out there and speak up. How many times am I going to say speak up in this blog? A lot of times, apparently. Okay, so final thoughts on being a woman in the tech industry. Being a woman in tech is pretty awesome. Okay, Marcie. Yes, it would be great if there were more women in tech and other STEM fields, but that doesn't mean the tech industry is currently toxic or unwelcoming to women. Maybe, but probably not. In all my experiences, I've been met with so much respect and positivity from my male colleagues that it's hard for me to imagine anything else. The CGI culture in particular is one of complete acceptance and encouragement of all women. We even have a women's forum that promotes the advancement of women's careers at CGI. I've never felt anything but encouragement to succeed in my time at CGI, and I think that's a wonderful thing that CGI has been able to do for me. And that's something that, just to think, if everything was just perfectly fine in the tech industry in terms of women, would we need a women's forum? Would we need something to help advance women's careers? I don't think so. I don't think we would need it. But yeah, again, just because I have this experience that is very positive doesn't mean that everyone has had that experience or will have that experience in the future. And so, yeah, there's definitely a big caveat there. Like, if I were to rewrite this article now, I would just throw it in the trash. But I'm sharing it with you anyway, because I'm like that. Put myself out there. Be vulnerable. Be vulnerable. 5 years ago, Marcie, she thought different things. Okay. So what do we do from here? So because I've had such positive experiences as a woman in tech, does that mean there is no work to be done to improve diversity in STEM fields? No, of course not. Apparently I like the word of course. And fun fact, the first book I ever wrote, which was in fourth grade, third or fourth grade, I spelled of course wrong every single time. I spelled it coarse, like coarse hair, COARSE, and that really bothers me to this day. Talk about like being obsessive about mistakes, you know, spelling coarse wrong when you were like a small child. Still think about it to this day. But yeah, apparently, of course, I just caveat everything with of course. But it is spelled right in this version, just for reference, in case you were worried. I understand that my experiences are unique to me and do not represent the entire tech industry. Do I though? Do I understand that? I think past Marcie needs a little work. But I guess that's like a good sign that like today Marcie has done the work and isn't so cringy. Well, maybe I'm still cringy, but just cringy in other ways, hopefully. Fingers crossed. But I do think there are lots of women in tech who have positive experiences, and we should do more to celebrate them. Here are a few things we should do as a society industry. Oh God. Oh, here's me coming up being like, I will solve this problem. I don't know about that, Marcie. Continue encouraging girls, women to pursue STEM if they're interested in it. However, don't force girls/women to pursue STEM if their interests lie elsewhere. It would be great to get higher rates of women in tech, but aiming for 50% representation is arbitrary and not necessarily reflective of interest/skill sets is what I meant to say. I mean, I agree, like, don't force somebody to do something they don't want to do, but there's a lot of encouraging, I think that could be done and would be positive. Again, I don't think 50% is necessarily the goal and it should be the outcome that we're looking for. But yeah, I feel like I just don't have the right type of view. Anyway. Contribute to a culture of making women feel welcome in the tech industry. We can do that by treating our female colleagues just like everyone else. There's no need to single women out and create unnecessary divisions of male versus female. Let's focus on encouraging women to succeed because we want them to be successful just like everyone else in the company. This is one of those things where it's like, I don't see gender, or like I'm colorblind because I don't see race types of things. And I don't think that's necessarily the way to go about it now. There's definitely, there needs to be a lot of like assistance, affirmative action towards women, I think, in order for them to be able to move forward. And so just treat them like everyone else. I mean, that's the whole like equality thing. That's like, you know, women want equal rights. Just treat them like everyone else or whatnot. And I don't know about that. I don't know. Celebrate the successes of women in tech and companies who are allies. We can highlight examples of successful women in tech and also talk about all of us women who have had positive experiences in tech. Let's talk about our positive experiences rather than focusing on the negative ones. That's where real change and inspiration comes from, celebrating and promoting positive rather than dwelling on the negative. See, that's very problematic. I'm just like, well, just ignore all the negative experiences and then it's fine. Let's just celebrate the positive ones, which like I get. Not really. I don't really get it. But yeah, I don't think that's the way to go. I don't think we should just ignore all the negative experiences and discount those and dismiss those and try to find more positive ones. I think we should be more understanding and more words Are the words coming to me? No, they're not coming to me. But we should really focus on the reality and not just, oh, let's just ignore the negative. Okay, that was painful. Still have another paragraph left. Think we can make it through? Let's do it. What is it like being a woman in tech? In my experience, it's no different than being a man in tech. How would I know? I don't know. I don't know what it's like being a man in tech. Anyway, we're all just people working toward the same goals, and I've had nothing but positive experiences working at CGI. I never expected to end up as a woman in tech, but I'm really grateful that I did. I may not have a degree in computer science or be able to code, but I've been welcomed into CGI and the tech industry with open arms nonetheless. This may not be how I ever expected my life to turn out, but I feel right at home and exactly where I'm supposed to be. And something that I wanted to point out, in addition to this big caveat that just because I've had positive experiences doesn't mean that everyone has, is just because I've been welcomed or feel welcome, that doesn't mean that there's no systemic issues against women in the tech industry. Just because it's not overt sexism and overt, glass ceilings against women, just because it's not out there and super obvious. They're not going out here like, oh, we won't hire women. We only hire them into support roles, or we don't hire women into leadership positions. Just because it's not overt doesn't mean that it's not happening kind of behind closed doors and more subtly, subtext, etc. And so that's just something that I think I've definitely learned over the years is, while I haven't personally felt really, discriminated against because I'm a woman, that doesn't mean that my experiences are representative of everyone's, or that there's not other things going on. And just because it's not overt doesn't mean it doesn't exist. So anyway, that was awful. I don't know if you made it through this with me. I didn't realize I hope this was the only controversial blog. Let's hope, because that was pretty bad. That was hard to watch, but I wasn't watching it. I was just reading it. I hope it wasn't too hard for you to watch. But anyway, I've learned a lot. I've come a long way. And yeah, I'm glad I was able to revisit this blog with you today. So thank you so much for watching, and stay well, my friends.